Hey guys, Clumsy here and welcome back to ETS2. We've had a couple of RTX 3080 related videos in the past few days. We even had one which focused on Flight Simulator, but I thought we could do a focus on ETS2 as well, given that it's one of the main sims in the channel. So in this video, we'll do an apples to apples comparison. Thankfully, I was able to benchmark some frame rates with my 1070 before I upgraded. So we'll do the same drive, the same trip, same truck, weather, everything. And we'll do it side by side, and I'll give some commentary as we progress with the benchmark. Now a few items before we proceed. So I'll share my graphics settings here. First thing you'll notice, why is Clumsy only using scaling 100%? Anti-aliasing, SSAO disabled. Why is he not maxing out his system? Well, that's actually misleading because I'm actually using NVIDIA Profile Inspector tweaks. More details on this I'll link in the video description, but basically we are turning off the scaling and all the other features here in game because we are going to use instead the NVIDIA Profile Inspector settings. So we move the anti-aliasing from in-game to the NPI, NVIDIA Profile Inspector. So that's how my settings look like in NPI, and there is a step-by-step instruction in the raw extended forums handled by Beng and J and GTX, that thread, and they can guide you on the process. But yeah, it's a very detailed instruction thread there, so you can follow along. The overall effect is much better anti-aliasing in the sim at the cost of performance. So frame rate might be lower, but the image quality would be much better because there would be less jagged edges, less shimmering, and that's why I am sticking with NVIDIA for now, because NVIDIA Profile Inspector is needed for these tweaks. Anyway, enough preamble, let's go and jump into the benchmarks. Okay, here we go. I know everyone will start looking for the FPS immediately, but try to resist. Let me go through the numbers bit by bit. So, left side GTX 1070, right side RTX 3080. I zoomed in the FPS part so you guys can see better. That might result into a bit of weirdness on the borders, but I think that's the best we can handle. So this is the same drive, same truck, same everything, same settings. So this can be as apples to apples as much as possible. Alright, now you can look at the frame rate. Alright, so we have a couple of FPS counters in here. Let me try and explain them. D3D11, that is the current FPS. That's just saying that the graphics engine is DirectX 11. And that's the current FPS that it's experiencing. So you can see at the moment it's 74 on the left, 146 on the right. So that's like double the FPS, current FPS. There's also the average below. So that just averages all the FPS throughout this entire drive. So that will be the best indication of what the FPS will be. So I highly suggest looking at that. That will be the most indicative number. There are also a couple of different numbers below that, the 1% low and 0.1% low. Those are basically the stutters. 1% low are the, mild stutters. 0.1% low are the major stutters, to put it simply. And later on, you'll see those 0.1% low numbers go very, very low, like 2 or 3 FPS. Because, I still have the micro stutters. It can be a very hard thing to troubleshoot, but I've just grown to live with it. So that doesn't really help regardless of how powerful your system is. It will still be there if you have like outdated mods, incompatible mods, errors in the log and whatnot. But let's enjoy this one and just ignore this thing that will happen next. Nothing happened. But yeah, I like this comparison because this is really showing how much the GPU can stretch its legs figuratively. You can see the GPU, both of them are being used to their maximum, 98% on the GTX 1070 97, 96% on the RTX 3080, so we are basically maxing them out. I removed any FPS limits here, removed G-Sync just so they could really do their maximum. That also means in terms of temperature, they are at their maximum. So in the left side, upper left, you see right beside the GPU percentage is the GPU temperature. So we're hitting 79 degrees Celsius in there. Compared with the RTX 3080, this one is from ASUS. The ASUS RTX 3080 Tough Gaming OC Edition. Oh, that's a mouthful. Anyway, so it's running at 66 degrees Celsius. That's quite hot considering this card has amazing cooling capabilities, one of the best in all the 3080s, even from other brands. And in flight sim, I've gotten at most 63, 64. So it looks like ETS2 is really pushing this. 66, interesting. One thing I'd also like to focus on is the CPU usage. So you see a lot of rows there in the CPU, one for each thread of mine. I have a Ryzen 3700X, so I have 8 core, 16 threads, so that's one for each of those. Anyway, if you look at the main thread, the top one, or the most utilized one, it is easily distinguishable which one has the highest percentage. On the left side, it's not that high, only around 40%. On the right side, you see it's going 84, 83%, sometimes even reaching 90%. But that makes a lot of sense because in the RTX 3080, the GPU is able to do all the instructions. So the CPU is assigning instructions to the GPU. The GPU is able to do them quickly, and basically the 3080 is saying, what next? Give me something more to do. So the CPU can work faster and pass things on faster to the GPU. So that leads to higher CPU usage and higher GPU usage and higher FPS overall. So all in all, great results. I'm loving this one. We can see more than double the FPS at a 13 to 15 degree cooler temperature. Now this is what I call an upgrade. And there you can see the 0.1% low, 2 and 3 FPS respectively, left and right sides. But that's just really limitation of the game. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this quick benchmarking video. Hopefully that gives more insight. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Catch you in the next one, guys. Clumsy Trucking.